Welcome back, story lovers, to chapter 13. Please consider liking and subscribing. Lucas, anxious to escape another night of festering fear and the menace hiding in the woods, packed up his rucksack and walked back into town. It was mid-afternoon when, with his head bowed, he walked along the dusty pavements spangled with discarded gum, litter and stains. Through some miracle, he'd surfaced from his sickness and was able to breathe again, but this was his first ever night sleeping on the streets, and he was unsure where to begin. The bird songs and the murmuring wind in the trees were replaced by a cacophony of traffic, racing footsteps, doors banging, chatter and people remonstrating. With creeping anxiety, he wondered if he'd made the right choice. From a distance, he saw a man sitting cross-legged in a doorway next to a cardboard box. He appeared morose and serious until he moved. Lucas ambled and watched as the thin man jumped to his feet and darted into the clamorous crowd of passers-by. In rapid succession, he approached people in a warm and appealing manner. "Can you spare 3 seconds to chat?" he said confidently to random strangers. His eyes were eager, his smile broad, and his actions were expansive, with a majestic flourish at the end. Lucas was surprised to see that the stranger's intrusive behaviour was not rejected, and that people seemed to enjoy his antics and were easily persuaded to part with their cash. They were happily putting their hands in their pockets for the exchange of goods. The smiles and banter flowed even after the transaction, as though some were enjoying the brief exchange, and then he shook their hands. When the man returned to his sitting position to roll a fag, Lucas apprehensively approached. "It's my first day on the streets," he said nervously. "Do you mind if I join you? I was watching you, and I don't think I've ever seen such a good salesman." The man didn't object. There was evident sympathy in his eyes, and his lips split into a grin. "I'm Tem, and you are?" "Lucas. My brother threw me out of his house, and I lost my job today. The trick to selling is to have something of value which is cheap and delivered rapidly," he said, laughing in between, sucking on his cigarette. "Put your bag down and take the weight off your feet." Lucas dropped his load on the ground beside the box and crouched with his back against the wall. The man slid some cardboard under his rear, and he slumped into a comfortable position. "It's not the selling that's the problem. It's the police," he said in a lowered voice. "Are you chipped?" "Of course. I thought everyone was after the pandemic. I'm from the dump, and we all cut ours out. They can trace your whereabouts with that strip of metal. I've checked the cameras here, and they're not working, and I don't suppose they're after you." "Are they that bad?" "Perhaps not for you, but the authorities are systematically destroying our community. The media says our ethnic group have a higher than normal rate of heart attacks, but it's not true. They have these guns. Anyway, they harvest our organs for the rich and powerful, and that's why I'm here." "That's not what I wanted to hear," Lucas muttered, and wondered if his brother would take him back. They sat in silence, pondering their united panic of the authorities. "You'd think our past troubles would have brought us all together undivided," Lucas mused. "The incredible, incurable cruelty of man never ceases to amaze me." Once the gates were unlocked, the moneymakers were only too eager to swamp back and take advantage of those they deemed to be outsiders, he said, pausing and glancing anxiously around. "Why don't you have a go at selling? You can keep half of what you make," Tem said. Lucas took a handful of sunglasses from the box and, with a knot in his stomach, leapt to his feet, pushed into the endless stream and daringly approached his first customer. He was acutely aware of all the cutting glances and disdainful glares. He approached several people and, with a tremoring voice, asked if they wanted to buy any shades. They rejected his request and made derogatory remarks about how he should find a proper job. Some, with the appearance of living an honourable life, crossed the road to avoid his advances. Nobody wanted to engage. He tried to adjust his words and manner, but they still gave him a wide berth. Defeated, he returned to Tem. "I haven't sold a thing." "You have to move your thinking to adjust to each situation. Don't draw back. Be confident. Be less reticent." He handed Lucas a bottle of beer. "Take the edge off your thirst. A dry mouth is a giveaway." "I don't think I've got the right personality," Lucas moaned, recognising his new friend had charisma and energy, which couldn't be ignored. "Of course you have," Tem grinned. "Own the moment. Use cunning and control. talk to them and provoke their emotions and alter their perceptions. Lucas ignored his crumpled clothes and dishevelled appearance and went back out like a man of means and dignity. This time, he didn't allow the unwilling to not engage. He laughed and joked and threw back any negativity. At his first sail, his heart leapt with joy, and his confidence grew. He shifted from one foot to the other in a mad, fearless dance until a crowd had gathered around, not wanting to miss out on the bargain. By dusk, he'd moved from regret and loss to elation. Exhausted and with a pocket full of money, he flopped down beside his new friend. "See, I told you it only takes one atom of advantage to make a difference. Never waver. Always carry through on a plan. Thaw the ice by revealing your heart. You have to be real and not act like the oppressed." Lucas caught Tem warmly by both hands, thanked him profusely, and shared out his half of the money. "You could probably get a room for tonight with that," Tem said. "No, I'm going to take my chances here. I want to earn as much money as possible and secure a decent place to live. Where did you get your stock?" "I'm afraid, my friend, that would be telling," Tem said, his lips set in a truculent line as if to add, "I will give you some things, a facade, but not everything, and not all of who. I am. Tonight you will lie beneath the sheet of the sky, but I will have to leave you as I need to be elsewhere." Lucas was bewildered by the abrupt ending of their brief relationship. He pulled his sleeping bag from his rucksack, climbed in, and squeezed into the darkened doorway, and seriously considered the day's events. It was difficult to keep his emotions modulated on his own, and as hard as he tried, he couldn't regain his earlier sense of achievement and elation. Streamers of rain blurred the city lights, and the din of the crowds died. At dawn, Lucas woke up to a pool of water seeping into his sleeping bag. Tears dropped from his eyes. The dampness accelerated the freezing of his body. Intending to buy a warm drink, he stiffly tried to rise. Someone had dropped a newspaper on the ground next to his bed, probably as a gift of insulation. Peering through the early morning mist, he was drawn to the headlines and a picture of a bus slewed across the road. Lucas read the headlines. "Driver dies from novel virus. Are we facing a new plague? I was on that bus and helped a sick man. Have I been infected?" Lucas considered despondently. Or worse still, I was also sick, and then I miraculously recovered. He read on. "Contact tracing has begun, and scientists suspect a super spreader is on the loose. Do I dare believe the unbelievable? Am I contagious? If I step forward for testing, I could be locked up for weeks." Thank you, story lovers, for listening to Chapter 13. Please like and subscribe for more content. You can find all my books in your favourite online stores and on Audible under EMG Wixley, or follow the links provided. To be continued.